Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, good morning at you. It's the 25th of September, 2019, a big day in American politics, judging from everything that's popping right now. Nancy Pelosi finally doing what she was clearly loath to do, events having taken her resolve not to go this route. Already we're hearing the usual attempts at media to suggest that this is too soon, too sudden politically. I actually heard, who was it? I had on CNN this morning, David Gregory said this could ensure President Trump's reelection. Okay. Listen, I have no coherent thoughts on this. I'm taking it all in as you are. I do want to say this. I do worry always about Democrats' ability to, to not play tough enough, I guess is how I'll put it. For one thing, I'm worried that they could get lose the battle today of perception, in that the White House is, of course, for all I know at this moment, releasing the transcript of the call that created this impeachment inquiry. And that was the call, of course, between Trump and the Ukrainian president, in which, it is out? Wait, somebody send me, I just got a little blurb from the New York Times of what the transcript says. Here's what I want to make clear. The transcript is, in all likelihood, not unlike William Barr's report that he released prior to actually letting anyone see the Mueller report. And in doing that, he downplayed, even mischaracterized Mueller's conclusions in that report, and essentially gave the president a pass. And media picked up on that, and that was what everyone was talking about. And in fact, that became a narrative that was hard to then upend, even as we saw, in fact, much, much more of the report. This transcript is based on notes taken during a call, in all likelihood. And I would imagine, since it is coming out of the Oval Office, that things that might be clearly damning will not be included or will be fudged. So I think the reason Trump was willing to release this transcript is because this creates an opportunity for the White House to form a narrative to make it look like the Democrats overreached, and the spin begins. That's my guess. The fact is, it would be much better if we could just see the whistleblower's complaint, which we should have seen, or certainly the Congress should have seen by law by now. I'm just understandably concerned about Republicans playing the game that is politics better than the Democrats do. We have a caller. Caller? Go ahead, please. Hi.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike in D.C.
Hi, Mike.
Apparently, the White House is not releasing the transcript. They're releasing a readout.
And what's the difference?
Which supports your argument.
Oh, okay.
So words have meaning only to us, but the transcript implies, I said this, he said that. I said this, he said that. But this readout from what the USA Today was reporting isn't, like you said, isn't going to be a transcript. So they could put anything in there.
That's correct. They could. Now, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
There are no, you would wonder, don't they record these calls? Well, no, since a guy named Richard Nixon regularly recorded things in the Oval Office, no president, I believe, since has gone that route. I think that is true. So, no, these things are not recorded. That's all I wanted to add.
But
yeah.
The conversation with Z is his nickname in the Ukraine.
Okay.
Is not a good one. So we have another person on the other end who can tell us what the conversation was about also. But Bill Maher said something really interesting on Friday. He predicted, because of past behavior, what this, how this will play out. He said, first Trump says, nope, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, I never said it, I never talked to the guy. He said, act two. Then he said, well, I did talk to the guy, but we didn't talk about anything illegal. And then stage three, well, I talked to the guy, and I did talk about stuff, but nothing I said was illegal. It's not illegal.
Yeah.
And that's the whole way Trump plays all of these. I didn't do it, then we proved that he did it, and then he said, well, it wasn't illegal anyway because the president can do or say or talk or release data, anything he wants. So it's not illegal. That's the whole dance he does, and he's going to do it here. He's already on to stage two of his craziness.
Oh, God. Well, interestingly, on Fox News, no less, their chief legal analyst, that Judge Napolitano, he flat out said that what the president has already admitted to in his speaking of this phone call, he says is a crime. It is a crime to solicit aid for his campaign from a foreign government. It's a crime. It is a crime akin to getting help from the Russians for his last run for office. So what the president has admitted to, because he admitted, did he not, yesterday or the day before? Yeah, we talked about Biden. That's a crime. And it's an impeachment.
But I wasn't trying to dig dirt up on him.
Yeah.
Right.
So Napolitano said the fact that he made a phone call, that he had discussions about having that president investigate his potential rival for the 2020 presidential race, that is what we call bribery. You can have the money for your military aid if you do this to help me get reelected. And Napolitano on Fox News says bribery is absolutely an impeachable offense. So
and that's probably where they're going to get him, is if they get him at all, which I have no hope here, but I mean I have a little hope. They're going to get him that he said withhold the $400 billion.
Right.
And the excuses they're making now for that are as crazy as the thought that he didn't talk about Biden to gather on him. Like once
they're all over the board. They're all over the
was,
board. What was the first one? Yeah, we were talking about corruption. The call was about corruption, right? Initially.
Right.
Then he said, yeah, we talked about Biden. Then there was another reason. Oh, the call was about the fact that the Europeans aren't paying their fair share or something like that. He decided.
No, that's not the reason. That wasn't the reason for the call.
Oh, okay.
That was the reason that he withheld the money.
Oh, I see.
Because the European Union wasn't pitching in.
Which in fact
is
$400
million.
It's a bald-faced lie.
But the European Union wasn't.
They've given more than we have.
Right.
$15
right. But
billion.
That's his argument.
But his argument is a lie, and it's a verifiable lie. I don't know.
That's worked for him before.
It sure as hell has. We keep hearing that the Democrats do think that because all of this happened within a few days, that it's a phone call, that the average American can understand what the crime is here. It's not as convoluted as the Mueller report stuff. But we'll see. The fact is,
maybe Nancy Pelosi, maybe Democrats have learned. Maybe they say, "Oh, wow, we got to jump on these scandals one at a time," or maybe they're just scared because Biden may not be the candidate.
That is true.
So who else is he digging dirt up on illegally?
Pocahontas.
Yeah, he can't win fair and square.
Right.
We know that.
Yeah.
No Republican can win fair and square.
No, they cheat.
So they got to cheat.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, things are, I don't know. Things going to get interesting.
Do you have any hope?
Do I have any hope?
Mm-hmm.
No. My sense is one of dread. I have to tell you, if I was just trying to see, what is it I'm feeling? And it's dread.
Because?
I just can't. I mean, this has been such, pardon the expression, shit show from day one, from the inaugural crowds to the point we're at now. And I just can't imagine. We're not in normal times. I just have a sense of dread about what rabbit will get pulled out of what hat, what's going to happen. I don't know. It doesn't negate.
It is a bit like
hope. I mean, it's possible that in this dreadful period we are entering, that it will end up with the proper conclusion, meaning the impeachment, and incredibly the conviction of Donald Trump. You know, the other thing I was thinking is if the House impeaches him, the Senate, even with Mitch McConnell, he can't get around this, has to have a trial, right? And they have to have a vote. And that will be happening right before the election. A ton of those Republican senators are up for re-election, right?
Right.
Some of them might, and we don't know what the American public at that point, where they'll be. So there'll be a lot of political calculations being made, and it could be you'll have a closer vote than what we would think would be possible today. I don't know.
Or, more importantly, all of the senators who have to vote, who have to bow to the king,
yes,
or the chosen one, as Susan calls him, will then be on tap for bowing to the king, even though it appears to be
the king will be deposed.
Treason.
The king will be deposed by the people overwhelmingly. And if the king is voted out overwhelmingly, those senators that ally themselves with him could go down with him.
Right.
So
even if not, maybe them having to vote will be enough of a switch to get some of those senators, Republican senators, to lose. Because the truth is, even if we win the White House, if Moscow Mitch is still in charge at the Senate, nothing will get done.
Nothing will get done.
Nothing.
What I don't know is it possible at all, even playing not by the rules, as is his habit, that McConnell could stall the a trial after impeachment? I don't think he can, but you wouldn't think he could do most of what he has done because he doesn't care.
Right, Moscow Mitch already got rid of Garland, right?
Yeah.
And when that happened, I thought, surely they can't stall for 9 months.
Yeah.
And he did.
Right.
So, yeah, Moscow Mitch is the problem, even more than the president. Because we can get rid of the president, but we can't get rid of Moscow Mitch unless we get 51 senators or 50 and the president.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, it's going to be interesting. You're hopeful?
Just a tad hopeful.
Okay.
I actually read an article today where the chosen one's name was mentioned, which is, unique for me. I usually avoid it like the plague. But I read an article today where the chosen one's name was mentioned, and I didn't melt.
Well, there. Yeah. Actually, Milton has just sent me the transcript.
No, what do they call it?
Memorandum.
Not a transcript. They call it a readout.
Memorandum of telephone conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine.
In other words, my side of the conversation.
That's right. Declassified. It
said.
says declassified by order of the president, September 24th, 2019. And I'm just going through it very quickly, and it just looks like a friendly phone call. Congratulations.
Looks like what?
Well, according to this, Trump says, congratulations on a great victory. Blah, blah, blah. Then Zelensky, you're blah, blah, blah. We did win big. It's true. Then Trump says, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say crowd strike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people. The server, they say Ukraine has it. I don't know what any of this means. There are a lot of things that went on, the whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you saw yesterday, that whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller, an incompetent performance. But they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you do, it's very important that you do it. Okay, now, what he's talking about and what he and Giuliani have been wanting to do is they think that the Democrats, and they're even drawing Soros into this, at least Giuliani is, right? That somehow Soros, Clinton, Hillary, were mucking about in Ukraine trying to get dirt on Manafort. I mean, this is what the right Giuliani and the right wingers are going to counter with. I know it makes no sense, but that seems to be what he's talking about. He wants him to go after, I don't know, Zelensky says nothing in particular. He's saying blah, blah,
He
blah.
reports that Zelensky said.
Okay, that's true. And then they have Zelensky saying, I will personally tell you that one of my assistants spoke with Mr. Giuliani. And by the way, that's the first time Giuliani's name comes up. Just recently, and we are hoping very much that Mr. Giuliani will be able to travel to Ukraine and we will meet once. I just wanted to assure you once again that you have nobody but friends around us. I will make sure that I surround myself with the best and most experienced people. I also want to tell you we are friends. Blah, blah, blah. And I guarantee as the president of Ukraine that all the investigations will be done openly and candidly. And then Trump says, good, because I heard you had a prosecutor who was very good and he was shut down. And that's really unfair. And that's who he's saying Biden shut this other prosecutor down. A lot of people are talking about that, says Trump, the way they shut your very good prosecutor down. And you had some very bad people involved. Mr. Giuliani is a highly respected man. He was the mayor of New York City, a great mayor. And I would like him to achieve a unique success. I'm able to tell you the following. The first time you called me to congratulate me when I won, and the second time you are now calling when my party won the parliamentary election. Oh, I can't tell who's it. I think I should run more. Okay, I don't know where this is going. That's the president laughter, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. So I don't know what to tell you here. I don't like reading this kind of thing on the fly. But here's the other point. Here's the other point. Rudy Giuliani does not in any way work for the United States of America. That he would be involved in talking to heads of state. He's the president's private lawyer. He's Donald Trump's lawyer. He is not President Trump's lawyer. He is Donald Trump's lawyer, and he does not have, this should be happening from the State Department or something. The fact that he's got Giuliani here doing this dirty work and this skullduggery makes sense because the State Department wouldn't, in all likelihood, be as willing to do something like what Giuliani's been up to. No, what they released here is a bunch of hoo-ha. Are you?
Yeah, and my thing is, as you're reading this, I keep thinking that someone had to translate this. This wasn't in English, probably, his side of the conversation. So there was a translator involved who knows what really was said. And there's also Z in the Ukraine who knows what was said, and I wonder if they have a tape recording of the conversation.
That's true. Ukraine is stuck here. They don't know what to do. They're worried about themselves. They've got, they're fighting Russians for their survival.
But they certainly don't want a Russian tool to be the president of the United States.
That is true. But they're not going to get another president for over a year if they do. And so they've got to, I just...
Well, Trump said he already made the payments. See, we made the payments.
Oh, God. Oh, here's something. Oh, wait,
so, Nancy,
wait.
It's your move. How are you going to respond?
Wait. Here's Zelensky saying... I would also like to thank you for your great support in the area of defense. We are ready to continue to cooperate for the next steps to buy more javelins from the United States. Then there's things that are clearly taken out because all of a sudden it says, call you. I will ask him to call you. Oh, this sounds like Trump. I will ask him to call you. He's talking about Giuliani, along with the Attorney General. Rudy very much knows what's happening, and he is a very capable guy. If you would speak to him, that would be great. The former ambassador from the United States, our ambassador to Ukraine, the woman was bad news, and the people she was dealing with in the Ukraine were bad news. So I just want to let you know that. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution, so if you can look into it. It sounds horrible to me. So, boy, this Barr is willing to do anything Trump asks him to do. So here's where he's talking about Biden's son and how much he wants him to see Rudy. And then he disses the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, who was yanked out of there summarily by Trump. I don't think very long ago. She was pulled out. She'd been there. She was she'd been, she was a pro. She'd been there for over 2 years. He yanked her out, probably because she wouldn't do Trump's bidding. God almighty. So here he is saying that his own ambassador, that woman, was bad news. There's a lot of talk about Biden's son. And then you want to hear so after he gets done with Biden's son and bad news, here's what this poor president, and I say poor president because, by the way, do you guys know that this guy has no political experience at all, the Ukraine president?
He's a comedian.
Are you aware? No, he wasn't a comedian. He was a television star of a comedy show. And
Sound familiar?
Yes. And he played a teacher who somehow goes viral. Statements he makes against corruption go viral, and he becomes like this big to-do. And this guy was just an actor playing him. And so he gets elected to really be the president. How much different is that? So here you got two television show stars talking to each other, neither of whom know anything about geopolitics. Isn't that something?
But we know one is corrupt. We don't know about the other.
No, we don't know about the
the
actor. Anyway,
right.
So this is where Trump, as much as they're telling us that he says, yeah, our ambassador, that woman, blah, 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 a lot of talk about Biden's son, Biden getting rid of that really good prosecutor, who, by the way, nobody says was a good prosecutor. The EU wanted the prosecutor out. Everybody wanted him out because he was not going after the corruption. But here you have Donald Trump, proxy for Vladimir Putin, Ukraine's biggest enemy, seeing things somehow like Putin would see them. Then this poor actor president, this accidental president in the Ukraine, says this to our accidental president. I want to tell you about the prosecutor. First of all, I understand and I am knowledgeable about that situation. Since we have won the absolute majority in our parliament, the next prosecutor will be 100% my person, my candidate, who will be approved by the parliament and will start in September. He or she will look into the situation, specifically into the company that you mention in this issue. The issue of the investigation of the case is actually the issue of making sure to restore the honesty. So we will take care of that and we'll work on the investigation. See, this guy is saying we're going to do things by the book here with my guy in charge. And then he says, on top of that, I would kindly ask you, if you have any additional information that you can provide to us, it would be helpful for our investigation. With regard to the ambassador to the United States, oh my God, as far as I recall her name, it was Ivanovich. Yeah, it was. It was great that you were the first one who told me that she was a bad ambassador. Because I agree with you. Her attitude towards me was far from the best, as she admired the previous president. She would not accept me well enough. And then Trump says, well, she's going to go through some things. What the hell does that mean? I will have Giuliani give you a call. And I'm also going to have Attorney General Barr call. What is Barr doing talking to a foreign head of state? He is a domestic actor, a head law enforcement officer of the United States. We are going to have Attorney General Barr call, and we will get to the bottom of it. I'm sure you will figure it out. I heard the prosecutor was treated very badly, and he was a very fair prosecutor. So good luck. Your economy's going to get better and better, I predict. You have lots of assets, incredible people, blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable. So who knows? This is not the whole thing, and this is, wow.
So the next move is Nancy Pelosi's, and is she smart enough to learn from the from the Mueller investigation and not let the Bill Barr letter stand out?
Maybe. She's certainly smart. So let's hope. Anyway, that's what I got. I got to go because we have Ryan Dito standing by to come in. But thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you
like
for
You're welcome.
for helping me through this. I appreciate it. Bye. Hello, Ryan.
Anytime.
Bye. Bye.
Hello.
Okay, so have you seen this? What they put out?
What, did something happen yesterday?
All right. Get over here a little more. Anyway, it's just a lot of,
Oh, is this the transcript?
Well, supposedly,
yeah,
but you can't believe a goddamn thing.
That's true. Yeah, I was just texting my friend. He said, like, oh, it doesn't even look like it's the full thing.
There's no way it is.
Yeah.
But he does. I mean, it sounds like Trump because it sounds like an idiot.
Yeah.
Right.
His cadence, the way, his short
where he does it
sentences.
very bad, very bad.
Yeah.
He heard very bad. Yeah. I heard you had a prosecutor who was very good, and he was shut down.
It's always good
and that's really unfair.
Yeah.
The way they shut down, you have some very bad people involved.
Yeah.
Giuliani's a highly respected man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Setting him up.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And what I was pointing out, which I think people forget, this Zelensky is he has no background in politics, geopolitics, anything.
Okay.
He was a television actor on a show playing a school teacher, an idealistic school teacher who has a tirade against corruption, and it's filmed by his students, winds up online, goes viral, and propels him into the presidency.
Oh, wait. So he wasn't an actor. He was actually just a school teacher. That like a
No.
viral video?
He was an actor playing a school teacher who becomes the president of Ukraine.
In the show.
In the show.
So he's like Martin Sheen or something, or like
who actually then, Martin Sheen from The West Wing, as if we then said, this guy is great. Let's elect him president. It's exactly that.
I could see that.
So it says here the show was a comedy.
Yeah.
But the message of fighting the wheeling and dealing proved so popular that this actor who's playing the president of Ukraine started a political party named after the program. His party is the name of the program.
The Boy Meets World Party.
Servant of the People. Servant of the People Party. And then he won the next election.
Maybe if Trump is impeached, he'll just start a new party called the Celebrity Apprentice Party, and then he'll also just win again.
This world. What this says is this is where if people are so gullible.
Yes, they are.
It obviously
Extremely.
Enough that people in the United States were to elect Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The people of Ukraine should be embarrassed.
People
electing.
People of the UK, they were gullible too.
They
believed in the Brexit vote, which is a disaster at this point.
What the hell?
I think all of our time here always devolves into the problem of the media, but it is it's a problem of media, and I think it's a problem of education, right? Like we're not educating our people enough to be critical thinkers.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
People don't know how to think anymore.
Yeah. I don't know if they ever did. I think it's like a combination of the fact that we haven't caught up with how quickly media has evolved. Like we are more educated than we used to be.
But
right?
we're
like
not media literate.
Exactly. Like not enough.
I
not
have
nearly
called
enough.
for, I swear, anyone who's listened to me on the radio for 30 years knows that 30 years ago, I was saying the most important class, and it should be started in kindergarten, is media literacy.
Yeah.
And it should be throughout
Every year.
the curriculum.
Absolutely.
Because, and especially now, when I started that, I was just talking about television.
Yeah.
We didn't even have this crapola yet.
That's the thing, right? Because it exploded so quickly. Because you're right, we did just have radio and television.
And I could see that people
and
weren't,
also newspapers.
People weren't literate about television and
definitely.
where the news ended and commentary began.
Yes.
Or where the news ended and even
Fox News
commercial
exploits that.
content began.
Yes.
There was
people can't even tell ads. I mean,
No.
ads influence people. There's a reason why people
right.
buy SUVs that they don't need. It's because of ads.
No,
you know?
no, it's true.
Like,
They don't know they're being played and constantly played. And I have to tell you, I defer a lot to my son about media literacy now.
Yeah.
But I taught him from the minute he was a kid. If we were watching TV together,
Yeah.
I did make sure he
that's
understood.
Good. That's good.
And now he's ahead of me in the game
Yeah.
because he understands
He's-
more about
he had
social
the
media.
basis. Yeah.
But God.
I mean, my parents didn't teach me this stuff. I've had to teach them, like going back, being like, hey, I think my mom's pretty good at it. She's a little bit more skeptical.
Well, I
but
was in the business.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of the people who schooled me were politicians. I remember there was a politician, a senator from Wisconsin, Bill Proxmire.
Okay.
And he was very media savvy. He came out with this thing called the Golden Fleece Awards, where he would go to the media and say, look at what the Pentagon is spending money on. And he would give these, he would talk about the absurdity.
Yeah.
Never took a dime from anybody, but I don't even think he took donations from people. He didn't. He was this weird guy. You would bump into him all over. He just probably shook everyone's hand in the state.
Yeah.
I was interviewing him once, and the photographer was setting up. And Proxmire says to the photographer, no, I don't, please drop your camera lower.
Yeah.
He wanted, and I was fascinated. He wanted that camera so that when he was the picture of him, we would be looking
up at him. Yeah. So more like.
Well, I never thought
more favorable.
No, I never thought of
somebody.
such a thing. But he was smart enough to know. I don't want to be diminished.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to look.
Yeah. Like he's dominating over the
little
conversation.
things like that
yeah.
people don't think about, how the
Oh,
angle
totally.
you shoot
Yep.
a person.
Yep.
You can diminish somebody. You can elevate somebody.
Yep.
And it plays on your head
Yeah.
unconsciously.
Oh, totally. Yes. And, and you people in the media are aware of this stuff, and they know. I mean, we all know, we can use a certain picture of somebody in a certain way that makes it look like they're
an idiot
or something,
right.
even though it's just it's literally like a nanosecond that we
right.
just take a photo of. And and all those things are used, and now it's just to the level of so much information that you're right. We need people to be like, oh, that doesn't sound true. We need people to read even a Washington Post article or even
with
a city paper article.
Level of
the
skepticism
that says, oh, I don't know about that, and then challenge those people. But it has to be from a place. You have to challenge from a place of actual skepticism, and not just shouting catchphrases or
right.
calling them communist or whatever. And so it is. Yeah, and so, we don't know what's going to come out with this. Luckily, the Democrats have been probably smarter on how they're going after this, and they're not just going to be they from the get-go have said, we want the full transcript, we want the full complaint, Whereas, so that kind of actually primes the media, too, to be like, oh, well, no, we need the full complaint. We're not just going to jump
but when
at
you
this
have
thing, but,
24-hour coverage on these cable networks, and they have to fill, it ain't easy filling 24 hours. So you invite people and then you gotta fill, and we talk, and they speculate,
Yep.
and they bring up this and that because you fill the time that way.
The punditry of media is just one of my least favorite things, like of the last 20, 30 years.
Me too.
And I mean that sports media,
All of
I
it.
mean that entertainment media, I mean that political media.
Right.
It's just it's basically what people would be doing at the bars or at the water cooler, just BSing. Like putting that out
That's
into
right.
to
As
be a
if it's
legitimate
right.
thing.
I remember I had a friend who was a commissioner on the FCC during Lyndon Johnson's tenure, and I remember him saying when CNN started up and he said, this could really do in newspaper journalism.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you talking about? He said, what he was talking about was they began plucking reporters
Yeah.
and putting them on TV to fill this gaping maw of time.
Yeah.
And so it used to be nobody knew who any of these bylines, they didn't know what they looked like. They didn't know who they were, never heard them talk.
Yeah.
They were,
Yeah.
anonymous, not anonymous, but they were people you didn't know.
Yeah.
They were doing their job
Yeah.
of seeking out information and informing you.
Yeah.
And what cable news did is made them celebrities, made them television stars, and that's corrupting.
Yeah. Well, and it's
corrupt.
It's even worse now because a lot of these people that are just coming on to talk about the news aren't even the journalists anymore. They're basically just like they're like Rick Santorum,
like Rick
people like that.
Who gives a shit? The people who knew him best, that'd be us in Pennsylvania. We sent him packing.
Yes.
Why should CNN be saying, and listen to this guy?
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Oh, you mean the guy who got trounced?
Yeah.
Like in his last election,
kidding me?
in his most recent election. So maybe he would have been a good person to talk to when he was a senator, and when he did obviously get talked to a bunch because he was the senator, right? Because he was maybe what the voters wanted then. But then after he got trounced, completely annihilated, then maybe that's maybe that's maybe he's not a good person to talk to. But it's just and we just get into this point where it is hard for us to just look at say this transcript and determine what we think about it and have experts help explaining things, but not necessarily be like, oh, Rick, what do you think?
God. Every time I see, it's a quick turn off for me.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to change the subject for a minute
please.
because it's funny.
Okay.
It's a funny media story. It reminded me of. I saw that they're exhuming Francisco Franco, the body.
Okay.
Do you know of him?
Is that the person?
Because you're so old.
I'm trying to
Generalissimo Francisco Franco, Spanish-American Civil War, the 30s.
Yes, no, I don't remember that.
The Abraham Lincoln Brigade. Americans went over and they fought. He was a fascist.
Oh, Franco. Yes. Okay. Yes.
This was like a precursor to what we were seeing. This was like the canary in the coal mine about Adolf Hitler's rise, Mussolini's rise, all of that.
Hemingway wrote about that war a lot, right?
Because he was one of the Americans who went.
Now. Yes, okay.
Generalissimo Francisco Franco, a horrible, horrible human being who created this bloodletting, just unbelievable in Spain. Anyway, while he was the Generalissimo, he built this huge underground basilica.
Okay.
Where he was to lie once he was gone.
Yeah.
Now, when he was dying, he lived a long time. I can't imagine when. I don't remember when he died. But the reason the story, they're exhuming him because there are enough people now who are saying, why the heck should he be buried? Get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And bury him with his family someplace, but get him. This should not be.
Or put him on Corsica like they did with
right. Just
Napoleon
get him the hell
whatever.
out of here. But it reminded me of one of the funniest stories I'd ever heard about local television news.
Okay.
When Franco was dying, he was one of those people who it took forever to die.
Okay.
So for months on the news there would be, and Generalissimo Francisco Franco's sick. Very sick. Still sick. Yes, he's still dying. And it was like it
need my
became
Franco
almost
update.
like, if there were Bill Maher and these other joke shows,
Yeah.
now they would just be having a field day with it. And there was a woman anchor. I think it was, I don't know. She wasn't at 4. It might have been 2 or 11. I don't know. Her name was Beverly Byers. And she's the one who said something so unbelievable. She said, Generalissimo Francisco Franco has taken a turn for the worse. He's dead. Her co-anchor at the time was a guy named Adam Lynch, who I later worked with, and Adam would tell that story so often because he's sitting there next to her, and it was like, what the? In fact,
the
he's
ultimate
dead.
turn.
Yeah, right.
The ultimate turn for the worst. That was actually that reminds me, there was a recent viral video of a KTLA newscaster and doing a report from Anaheim in Orange County, and sorry, this is in California, and she said something like, we tried to reach out to the dead person and couldn't get comment or something like that. It was just like,
are you kidding me?
Like, I understand, because like that's like that job, like going out in the field and like doing the thing, there's like a lot of pressure to like say the right
just
thing,
babbling.
and you basically have to like write down and like memorize this thing like really quickly, and clearly like she just like screwed up. But yeah, when you do that, obviously it's gonna like get shared on social media because it's really funny. But yeah.
So you have sympathy for this.
I have sympathy for the on-field reporters. I don't like the system of how TV news is, where they just feel like they need to put in like 40 stories in 30 minutes. But
was I telling this? Did I tell this story the other day? This is embarrassing. One of my favorite things. I think I did. Did I tell about the reporter who was doing recording? She wasn't live. She was recording a stand-up.
Okay.
And her name was Susan Brozick, and she worked at WTAE TV. Mm-hmm. And she was doing the stand-up, and it was a serious story about pollution in some river that she was standing next to. And she started, and so the Department of Environmental,
yeah,
and a dog, this happy dog, with a stick or in his mouth,
yeah,
comes like running down the side of the river toward her. Oh, look what I got! And she cracks up, and of course stops, and then. It was like a golden retriever at some point.
Yeah.
And so she takes the stick out, it plays with him for a second, and then throws it, and then turns to the camera and starts up. So this man, and of course, the dog comes running back.
That's what those dogs like to
They're
do.
retrievers.
That's their favorite activity.
She starts laughing again, and she like really tries to throw it, and then tries to do it real fast.
Yeah.
And so I saw this stuff. That stuff ends up on the cutting room floor. That doesn't get in. The only thing that people see are the one where the dog doesn't come running up. So I took that and just had a field day with it. The best stuff is always the stuff on the cutting room
I totally agree.
floor. Mark says, I remember describing the Trump administration as the Gong Show. It's no longer funny. Like you, I have no idea how this is going to wind up. Regardless, there's no choice for any person with integrity and a sense of right and wrong. Impeachment must proceed. To do otherwise is not an option. Damn the torpedoes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us, a lot of lefties were like, okay, let's do this months ago, because there was so much stuff.
But
and I think I heard Nancy Pelosi say yesterday, too, that, like, this is the most digestible and
Well,
understandable
she
thing.
thinks it's understandable.
Yes, and I
It's a phone call.
And I tend to agree with her. Like,
I
this
think-
is extremely digestible and understandable.
Right.
It doesn't need to get into the weeds. It's basically this and this. You can play that on a 30-second bite, and people can understand what.
Here's a
what
president
Trump is
of the
trying to
United
do.
States
Yes.
asking a foreign head of state
Yes.
to help him get dirt on his possible
Definitely his
opponent.
chief political
And-
rival at this
and
point.
that is on its face. Even the legal guy on Fox News, Napolitano, said,
Yeah.
it's a crime. It's an impeachable crime. I'm sorry. No, that's
it is.
no,
It lays
you can't
bare.
do that. I don't think Trump realizes you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because remember when he actually said that he would ask Russia if Russia came with help or dirt on an opponent, he would take it again? Do you
Yes,
remember?
I
He did
did.
say
Yes,
that.
I did.
So
Yeah.
he doesn't even understand that
No,
it's
he doesn't.
against the law.
Can we talk about Representative Connor Lamb about this?
So he's
thing?
still not
He's still on the
willing
fence,
to-
and he
yes.
feels like he's like literally the last Democrat in the caucus to be on the fence. And I find it really interesting because Representative Matt Cartwright, who represents northeastern Pennsylvania, Scranton area, is in a more vulnerable district, and he's not a freshman, unlike
he's
unlike
gone
Connor,
out
but
and
he
said-
said this is yes, I support this impeachment inquiry. So I think
Come on, Connor.
I know but I mean, what we're talking about, it's like if other people like, yes, this is an impeachable crime, it just feels like this is like, I mean, this has been Connor's MO since he's been elected, and it's like, okay, like maybe you're testing the waters a little bit too much. Like, we know you're smart, we know he's smart, like I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm surprised that he's still hedging his bets, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry, back to Generalissimo
Oh, yeah.
Francisco Franco. My friend Jonathan has sent me this. Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead is a catchphrase that originated in 1975 during the first season of NBC Saturday Night, which is now called Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So they ran with it.
Yeah.
Because
Weeks-long
it
coverage.
mocked the weeks-long media reports of his impending death. And it entered people do it. So her saying he's taken a turn for the worse.
He's
In
dead.
fact, he died. He's dead. So, what do you think about this? The New York Times editorial page made a big deal about this. That the Senate Republicans yesterday unanimously voted with the Democrats in the Senate to call on the president to release to the relevant congressional committees the whistleblower's complaint. Did you know that?
I did see that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what's with that?
Yeah.
And the Times doesn't want to make too much of it, but
Yeah.
they say
It's got to be really
the
bad.
rare display of institutional solidarity
Yeah.
in defense of American democracy may prove ephemeral. On the other hand, it can be hard to recognize turning points in the moment.
Yeah.
And this week, Trump's outrages seemed to be stirring lawmakers from their state of political passivity.
Yeah.
So the fact that every senator,
Yeah.
Democrat,
Everyone
said no.
Ted Cruz.
It's right there but why on that? It's interesting.
It must be really bad. I mean, some people must know what's in it, and it would be bad if there was a vote where these senators either they know it's really bad, or they are also just like, because it's just a resolution, it's like what they do,
That's right. That's right. But that they're willing to say.
But I mean, like, maybe they're just because that vote is there, maybe they're basically guarding against something that could be really terrible, and they don't want to have a vote that says, no, I don't want this to become open, because then they look like they're complicit, right? So it is just a resolution, so maybe it was actually a safe bet for these Republicans, pending what's actually in the complaint to
Right.
unanimously support it. I mean, I'm cynical towards
No,
all of their
I
actions,
would be too.
so,
Yeah, when I heard that unanimously voted for it, that means Mitch McConnell voted for it. I'm thinking.
And he gave the go-ahead to everyone else.
And he gave the go-ahead to do it.
Yes, you can all
so
vote for this.
I don't quite get that. Anyway, this is just for you because you're so bothered about people not understanding crime statistics and stuff like that. Listen to this.
Okay.
It's not local.
Okay.
The percentage of murders solved in the United States has fallen from 91%. They solved 91% of the murders in 1965.
That's a lot.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
To just 61% in 2017.
Wow.
Which is one of the lowest clearance rates solving murder cases in the Western world.
Wow. What's up? Do they elaborate?
Here is what they listen to this.
Okay.
This is so creepy what they say it
Okay.
might be. Some criminal justice experts theorize that this is the result of an estimated 2,000 to 4,000 active serial killers who are literally getting away with murder.
Wow. Oh, that's really scary.
What?
Uh-oh, don't.
Whoever heard? What do you mean? They're saying some people are saying there's probably 2,000 to 4,000 people who are just killing left and right and getting away with it.
Well, I think the term serial killer is really loaded. It could just be. It could mean that they're
someone who's killed more than 3 people. And I don't know what.
And they've
say.
done it over maybe their
Right,
lifetime,
right.
right? So maybe they just like travel to town and kill somebody, and then like don't. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I mean, it is scary, but it's also
2,000 to 4,000 of them wandering around the United.
Well, have murders dropped? Is there any context of have they increased nationwide or have they decreased nationwide? Because
I mean,
then
per
that would be
capita,
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I think that would be interesting.
But there's that,
context for
that show, Mindhunter.
Mindhunter, yeah.
Yeah, it's shot here.
That's right.
It's exactly about,
It's about the political or whatever, the psychological
psychology
science, of trying to catch people like that are just like kind of indiscriminate killers, right? Which are really hard to catch because most murders have a motive,
reason,
a really clear
yeah,
motive.
something that you can.
Yeah.
But these are people who just.
Yeah. Ooh, it is creepy.
It could be me. It could be.
You got it on tape. No, it's not me.
Okay, and I have one more little factoid because I do get these things.
Yeah.
I like your reactions. Nearly 30% of Americans who make less than $40,000 a year
That's low.
are married.
Oh.
Nearly 30%.
Okay.
Who make that, that's not a great,
No, that's like poverty wage.
are married, compared with 59% of those who make more than that. In other words, people with more income are able to marry,
Yes,
is what I
definitely.
think it is.
Yeah.
And so people decry, what's happening? The family unit is... Pay people! All right?
Yeah.
Pay people!
Definitely.
So they can afford, a
Pay
house
them, offer
and
them
maybe
services.
even a child. Yeah.
Yes. Free childcare.
You wonder why the marriage rate's going down? They can't.
I visited my friends in Reno, and they just had their second kid, and they basically had to both taken on full-time jobs. One of them has to commute like an hour to the capital of Nevada to work, and they're like, man, a lot of this is like they're paying childcare. They pay $1,800 in childcare, and that's not even that high for them. And but that is so much money, and it's like, why don't, like, if we want to have more kids, and conservatives are the one that are consistently beating on the drum, we need to have more kids, family unit, all this other stuff. Like, we clearly need to do so. We need to support them. Yes,
the family.
Ridiculous. It's so
we are the
absurd.
only we are disgusting. I'm leaving you with a quote from Donald Trump yesterday.
Oh, my man.
I'm leading in the polls, and they have no idea how to stop me. The only way they can is through impeachment. He's not leading in any polls.
No. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He can just say that, and they'll print it. It is. I mean, what's so funny is I think he was waiting. I mean, obviously he was waiting for this moment. But
You think he's happy?
no, I don't think he's happy.
I don't either.
I think he's a spin
He
artist.
looked really rattled.
He will spin every opportunity to have, and he has a network of media to help him.
I'm sorry, and it was just one more quote from him. This is to the United Nations yesterday. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. Just think, critically think that right now. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
If you want freedom, take pride in your country.
Isn't that the opposite of freedom? Right. He's telling us what to do.
I don't even know what the hell that means. It's a word salad. His next line, if you want democracy, hold on to your sovereignty.
That's just
what? It doesn't make any sense.
Every time I hear the word sovereignty, it just sounds like white nationalists like signaling.
And if you want peace, love your nation. This is nationalistic gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Gook. The future does not belong to globalists, he says. The future belongs to patriots. And I say again what I said yesterday. Globalist is a dog whistle for Jew.
Definitely.
And, so it doesn't belong to the Jews.
And liberals.
It belongs to the patriots, which also says that a Jew is never a patriot of a country, the wandering Jew. We've got a white nationalist standing in front of the United Nations, our president. And unfortunately, this got sort of rolled over because of the impeachment stuff. This was the most terrifying, unbelievable speech given by an American president.
Well, because Stephen Miller wrote it,
And that's amazing. Yeah. Guess what? He's a Jew!
Yeah, he is. And his family were immigrants, too.
I know!
That, escaped the Holocaust to Johnstown.
His family have gone into protective custody. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
Oh, they hate his guts.
Oh, they hate him.
Yeah.
They should have taken him out. I'm saying. My mother last night was saying, we were figuring out how. Oh, I better not because the Secret Service.
Send Stephen Miller back to Johnstown.
But I'm thinking really a 97-year-old taken out. Going out. I said, Mom, you could go out in a blaze of glory instead of just waiting to shuffle off your mortal coil. You can go down as a hero. And she was saying,
how would she do
that?
What is she?
What?
Just imagine this 97-year-old woman carrying out she's like Mission Impossible or something,
Right. No, she thought about it for a while. Anyway, so I'm just kidding. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.